What's going on, friends? Logan Myerz here for Cinephellas.com, back doing more 31 Days of Horror, and tonight I'm going to revisit a film I've probably not seen since the late 80s when it was released. I'm talking about Lady in White that came out in 1988. This film is like a ghost story meets murder mystery, and definitely a good Halloween time film to watch because it takes place on Halloween. And a film you probably want to sit around with your family. Even younger kids, I think, might enjoy this film. I remember seeing this movie on VHS back in the day at the local movie store. I'm at the cover, you know, with Lukas Haas sitting in this cloakroom with the window. You know, I just remember seeing that as a young kid and, you know, watching it back then. But it's been many years, and our good friends recommended and suggested checking this out for 31 Days of Horror. So this video is a shout out to our friends down in San Antonio, Texas, Sarah and Brian Butt with their new baby. Congrats, y'all. This one's for you. So the setup of the film, it's 1962. We have a young kid, Frankie, played by a very young Lukas Haas. You guys may know him. Actor. He's been acting forever, but he was very young in this film. So essentially, young Frankie, played by Lukas Haas, gets locked up in this cloakroom in the school, and the kids that lock him up like take off so he can see him through the window inside the cloakroom. He's like all pissed off. He's like, what the fuck am I gonna do? It's like this long closet, like 2 doors. He's locked in there. How is he gonna get out of there? And then being locked in this room, he essentially sees this ghost of a young girl, probably his age, show up in there and figuring out what exactly happened to her. So of course, being a young kid seeing a ghost, you're traumatized, so it really fucks with his head. And in the film, they're investigating all these murders of kids. The custodian or janitor at this school is falsely accused. And again, this is 1962, so there's a lot of racism and things like that. Well, he's African American, he must be the murderer. So there's a lot of stuff going on with that story, not to mention a ghost story at the same time. So with young Frankie seeing this ghost, he also encounters the murderer, the guy that kills the girl, and then throughout the rest of the film, this person, I'm not going to say who, is kind of on Frankie's tracks. And then another interesting aspect of the film is young Frankie showing up and finding this kind of mysterious house. It's like that cliche house you've seen like in your town you grew up in, or all the old ghost stories you talk about when you're a kid, because I grew up in a small town, and it reminded me like of that one famous house on the corner that's been abandoned forever. One actress I was surprised to see in this film, if you guys are familiar with Who's the Boss? It's an extravaganza. It's me, Tony Danza, here with Who's the Boss?
There is more to life than what you're living, so take a chance and face the wind.
Katherine Hellman is in this film, and she plays a character that's really spooky looking throughout. But I was watching this, I'm like, hey, it's the grandma from Who's the Boss? Holy shit! But she was really great. I love the whole atmosphere of this film taking place on Halloween. The set design, it's like a coastal town. It looks like probably on the East Coast somewhere, like New York or something, but just the way it looks, I mean, it really has this spooky atmosphere that captures Halloween perfectly. But overall, I had a really great time with Lady in White, you know, revisiting this movie so many years later, watching this as a kid. This is a really great movie. It holds up all these years later. It's a movie that kind of flew under the radar. A lot of people don't know about it. I know Scream Factory did a Blu-ray release of this film, and I think it's available on YouTube as well to watch for free. But I really love the story of this film, seeing a young Lukas Haas encountering this ghost and this killer, and then finding out who the killer actually is. It's really close to his family, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Some of the effects are a little dated. Being the 80s, they're trying to showcase this ghost, but it's very dated. That's really the only downfall I saw of this film. I love the school they use in this film as well. It has like a really eerie, creepy vibe about it, especially the cloakroom where Lukas Haas is pretty much locked up in. It's definitely eerie, and I love the window there as well. It's just a really beautiful set design, great atmosphere, really great film to watch during the Halloween season. So I'm going to give Lady in White, that came out in 1988, a 3.5 out of 5 ghost hair pieces. So have you guys seen Lady in White that came out in 1988? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe. This is Logan Myerz signing out from the spooky school. Ooh, where's that ghost at? Until the next video review for 31 Days of Horror. Cheers!